The Adderall shortage continues. We're now well into 2023, and this is still a problem. In this video, I'm going to be discussing 1, why, 2, what you're going to do to get your medication, including some insider tips after discussing with some pharmacists and my own personal experience in the healthcare space. We're also going to talk about some alternatives if you can't get your medicine, but let's dive into the video and update you where are we at now with this Adderall shortage and what is causing it. So it's starting to look up. Supply is back up. Some of the root causes of the Adderall shortage, as we stated in the video made in 2022, I can't believe we're still into this shortage. Some of the causes include 1, regulatory controls. Obviously, this is a Schedule II substance, highly controlled, so it's hard to just ramp up production of this stuff. 2, increased demand. We are still seeing massively increased demand. The pandemic made it very easy for doctors and nurse practitioners to prescribe this medication using online portals only, so you no longer had to see your doctor live. Boom, all these people got new Adderall prescriptions, and if you're interested in looking at one of these online pharmacies, I'll discuss some of them at the end. I actually use one and they are awesome. Third thing causing the shortage, there's actually limits on dispensing this medication. They were set in 2022 and they're absolutely absurd, but they're at the root of this cause. Next, and the DEA is under massive criticism of this, but they failed to increase their quotas in 2022 despite knowing that we had this shortage going on. They did not increase production quotas. So that's the cause. It does seem to be getting better. Manufacturers are figuring it out. They're producing more quantity. The quotas are going up. So we should see this, and we've already seen this, start to ease up. So a lot more people are able to get their medication back on the dosages that they need to be, but a lot, like yourself, maybe still cannot get your medication. So I'm going to give you some insider tips on how to actually get the medication that you need to function in the real world. So let's get into some of those tips. What can you do to get your medication? So there's this really cool website I want to show you. It's called getinflow.io, and this will actually show you the dosages of Adderall that are currently in stock and in shortage. So all of these are still unavailable, at least as it says here. Obviously, this isn't going to apply to every single pharmacy, but it's important to check this chart just to know where you stand, to see what dosages of Adderall are out, what are in. Maybe you can adjust just by the slightest to a dosage that is in higher quantity. That will easily help you get your medication faster and more conveniently. And one other reason this shortage is going to end really soon is a lot of the regulations that allowed online pharmacies to write for Adderall during the pandemic are about to roll back. So you're going to have to start seeing your providers in person, which means less prescriptions, which means more supply. So with increased supply, the problem's going to be resolved very soon. Less prescriptions and more supply. So this is going to help you get the bridge to when this is finally over. So I hope these next few tips help you. Here's how to get your medication even during the shortage. All right, I cannot stress this enough. This is going to be my #1 tip for getting Adderall during the shortage, and that is have a relationship with a pharmacy. Now, what happens 9 out of 10 times if you're watching this video and you can't get your medication is your doctor's going to write you a prescription. They don't know if it's going to be in stock. You're going to try and fill it at a pharmacy, and they're going to call you back, say, we don't have that in stock. I'm sorry. Call X, Y, and Z pharmacy in the local area. And you can go around in a circle and down the line, calling all of these different pharmacies, and they're all going to have the same answer for you. We're not accepting new patients right now. That medication's out of stock. And yeah, that's true, but they do get that medication in stock every single month, but they take care of their active customers, their legacy customers first. That's why they're telling you no. But if you already have a relationship with a pharmacy, or you know a pharmacist, or you can build a relationship with a pharmacy, that's going to be how you get your medication faster, and you never have to experience anything like this again. Build a relationship with a pharmacist and a pharmacy, and ideally if you can do so in person. In fact, I have a personal story. When I was trying to fill my medication that was out of stock, I called every single pharmacy in the area. I must have called 20 pharmacies, and they all told me exactly what I just told you they would say. Now, here's what I did. I took a walk over to the local Publix, sparked up a conversation with the pharmacist who was working at the time. This was a pharmacy that I already talked to on the phone a day prior. They were out of stock, not seeing new patients. Built a relationship with this pharmacist, and then told him that I had a prescription to fill for this Adderall. And because I already had a relationship with him, he knew me, I was there in person, he took care of me right on the spot. So this is something that they can do. A lot of pharmacists watching this will probably say, no, we can't, that's a bad strategy, don't do it. And I apologize to you pharmacists, and this might not work for everybody, but definitely something to try. Go in person, build a relationship. Tip #2 for getting your medication, and we already kind of touched on this with the website that I just discussed, and that's think about switching your dosages. If you take a 20 milligram Adderall extended release, maybe it would be okay to go up to a 30 or down to a 10. A lot of times with the 30, you can crack them open and split the sides, and you're getting just about the same amount in the same capsule. I didn't advise you to do that, not medical advice. But think about adjusting dosages. There's small variations, you might not even know the difference, and a lot of the instant releases you can just kind of break in half. So talk to your doctor about changing dosages. Look at that chart in the link that I'll put it in the YouTube video so that you can click on that link and see what dosages are more in stock and which ones are more in trouble. And you can actually ask the pharmacist over the phone too. What dosage should I tell my doctor to prescribe me to give me the best chance of getting this medication? So that's alternative doses. Now, if that still doesn't work, maybe your area is just totally cleaned out. Maybe you only have one pharmacy to support a bunch of people. There are other alternatives to Adderall, to amphetamine salts that you might consider trying. Vyvanse is a very popular one. It can also be quite expensive if your insurance does not cover it. And sometimes even if it does cover it, it can be quite expensive, but a good alternative. Unfortunately, it only comes in extended release. So if you're on instant, this is going to be a big change. Ritalin, Concerta. You might even consider a more exotic alternative like atomoxetine. This is where you have an honest conversation with your physician, your medical provider, and say, listen, I tried calling every pharmacy around me. Everybody is out of this medication. I'm having a hard time coping. Do you have any alternatives that we can try and you can recommend and put me on this and see how I respond, just as a bridge to this medication becoming more available? I just named some examples, but that is a conversation that you need to have with your physician. There's a lot of great alternatives out there, including generics. Last but not least, now is the time. Nature and society is forcing you to confront your dependence on amphetamines. So I think it's a really good time to start thinking about some alternatives, nootropic herbs, caffeine supplements, potentially even something like modafinil, which is a typical amphetamine, doesn't give you the same wired stimulant feeling that you'll get on amphetamine salts and Adderall, but it keeps you up. It's actually designed kind of for fighter pilots and people with narcolepsy. But think about some more natural alternatives and think about training your brain to not be dependent on amphetamines. The best thing that I can recommend for you to train your brain is meditation. Start with 10 minutes a day with an app like Headspace and see where that takes you. Anyways, the good news is the shortage, I believe, is finally coming to an end. Production is ramping up. Prescriptions are coming down with those changes in regulations. So you should be able to access that medication very soon, if not already. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up so that you see more updates like this. And if you want information on some of the medications that I mentioned, like modafinil, like generics, like Vyvanse, please subscribe to this channel. I talk a lot about medications that a lot of other doctors won't touch, so you're going to want to be subscribed.